4 weeks ago on Easter Sunday, our family gathered together, my family gathered together, had a wonderful celebration, and at one point the conversation turned to war stories of times that we were punished. So it was actually hilarious. Like my mom on Mother's Day, she would send us to our rooms for the rest of the month. That was like on May 1st, for the rest of the month, right? Or like if there was lying, this only happened once, right? We had to kneel on popcorn kernels. Painful, yes? My sister Kathy tells the story that she had a teacher at St. Charles, like if you did something wrong, she'd look at you and say, 25 times, and you'd have to write this: self-discipline is the foundation of learning. Without discipline, without order, the educative process falls to the level of children's games. Very exciting, yes? Try writing that. I only know it just for trivia, right? But 25 times for that. So Andrew, 4th grade, is overhearing these war stories of punishments, if you will, of discipline. So he wants to jump into this adult conversation, yes? He is like so proud of himself. I mean, there's no boast in being punished, amen? He's so proud of himself, like he wants to jump in, right? So there's a moment, well, 4th grader, I had to write, I will listen 10 times. Kids today are very soft, yes? And he was like so proud of himself in that moment. What did he write? I will, and I think the period was optional. I really do believe it, right? What's the phrase? I will listen. And sometimes we think listening is a punishment. Or sometimes listening is a burden. But listening is absolutely essential to every relationship, and especially essential in our relationship with God. On this feast of the Good Shepherd, it only works if we listen and hear the voice of the shepherd. And it's not a punishment, it should not be a burden, but it is absolutely essential and can be a blessing. When we take the time to listen to the voice of a shepherd, the scriptures outline what we find. In the first reading today, when we listen to the shepherd, we find a deeper wisdom and eternal truth. When we listen to the psalm, when we listen to the shepherd, we find what we desperately need: God's divine help and protection. When we listen to the shepherd, to the second reading, John, in the second reading, he got a whole better vision for his life now and forever, not to mention the tender care of the shepherd along the way. And go to the gospel today. When we listen to the Lord and attend our hearts to the voice of a shepherd, what gets formed is a solidarity, is a bond, is a oneness that will strengthen us, help us, guide us, lead us now and literally forever. Listening is not a punishment. It's not a burden. It is absolutely essential in every relationship, but especially essential in our relationship with the Lord. And this Good Shepherd Sunday should call us, make us mindful of why we need to listen in our ears and in our heart to the call of the shepherd, who wants to lead us, guide us, protect us, take care of us, provide for us on the journey here, and that journey leads to heaven. And listening is never really meant to be a punishment or a burden, but especially listening to God is absolutely essential. So here's this 4th grader, all worked up, all excited to get into the conversation. No boast in being punished, amen? I will listen. As you walk into the week, you don't even have to write all 3 words down. Put some place to remind you. Write the word listen. To remind you this week to open your ears, your mind, your heart to the voice of the shepherd who is calling you, speaking to you, trying to lead you to an abundant, blessed, full life in the Lord. Secondly, especially if you're married, this week, listen deeply to your spouse. Not just to hear the chatter, but listen so deeply that you hear the deeper narrative of what is trying to be shared and communicated. And thirdly, on this Mother's Day, if you are blessed with your mother still with you, take some time today and ask them to tell you stories about their life, about their family, about their faith. And as they share the stories, what do you need to do? Listen. When you lose your mom to heaven, every one of us who know that experience would tell you we would give anything to have another hour just to listen. So take some time today to ask to hear the stories of faith, of their life, of your family. And here's the first grader. I will listen. It's not a burden. It should never be seen as a punishment, but is absolutely essential in every relationship, and especially in our relationship with the Lord.